Hello everyone, happy October, happy Halloween. Today we are kicking off a new series of reading vlogs, which is Reading Through the Shelves. This is largely inspired by J.D. Ray Reid's Shelf Reflections. It's a bit like the bookshelf scavenger hunt. There's people doing work outside, so sorry if you can hear them. And also, quite a few years ago around BookTube, there was a challenge similar to the bookshelf scavenger hunt where you do a random number generator to choose which bookshelf you read, and then a random number generator where it chose a book on that shelf that was previously selected. I cannot for the life of me find out what that was called or when it was a thing. I have tried, I can't find it, but I remember it really well. So if you know what that was called, let me know. But most of the books on my shelves are all unread. The ones I have read are at my mum's, so we need to start getting through these and making room for more books without completely overwhelming me. So usually it would be the random number generator aspect of it to pick the shelf and then the book that I read. But for spooky season, 3 of my shelves have spooky books on them, and so I thought we would do picking which bookshelf out of the 3, and then I've made some TBR prompts for the Halloween season to then dictate which book I will read from that shelf. I've tried to keep them vague enough where there should be something on each shelf that would cover it, but because they're done by genre and sort of split up a bit, it's not guaranteed. We may have to repick a couple, but you'll see what I mean. So the first 2 shelves are these 2 here. So these are all mostly paperback fantasies, but there are some on there with like spooky elements to them. And then this shelf is thrillers, horrors, there's some vampires on there, kind of thing. And then the other one is this very top shelf, which you can't really see, but that has all my Evernight books on there. It's got some witchy reads, it's got some vampire books on there. So I've written down bookshelves 1, 2, and 3, and I guess we'll do it 1, 2, and then 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And whichever one I pick, I have to read books exclusively from that shelf in this vlog. And then when we've done that, I'll put the prompts in and then we'll pick the books that we'll read. I hope this makes sense and I hope it's fun. Okay, I'm quite nervous. Actually, let's go for this one. Here it is. 3. Interesting. Okay, so that is that one up there. Now, Ninth House and The Raven Cycle I have read. All the rest on there are unread. I'm gonna do 3, I think. 3 seems like a good amount. Number 1. A book with a vampire, starting off strong. So I could do Immortal's Ark, or Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, or Hungerstone, I think. So for a book with a vampire, I've decided to do Immortal Dark by Tigest Germa. I will look up how to properly pronounce her name after this. Just because I've gone with this one, because as much as I want to read Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, outside of this challenge, I'm more likely to pick that one up than this one. But this is the first book. I don't have a blurb because it's a naked hardcover, but I believe it's a dark academia with vampires. So I'm actually really looking forward to this one. Then book 2. They're all quite big books on that shelf as well. Is this one. Okay, we have A horror, nice and simple. None of the fun ones are getting pulled actually, they're all basic. For a horror, I've chosen Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker. This is a horror that follows a crime scene cleaner who starts to realise that there's a serial killer targeting East Asian women, and it's set during the time of COVID, so we see the awful racism that was magnified at that time as well. And I did start this a few months ago, but I wasn't in a horror mood. But a horror seems perfect for this time of year. So that's the second book on the TBR. And then the third one is this one. Let it be a good one to end off on. A book with an animal companion. I don't know if there's any on that shelf. There are none on that shelf that contain an animal companion, so we're gonna have to repick. This is where it's tricky doing this across 3 shelves with different books on them. Oh, it's a big one. Prompt 3, take 2. A book with the colours of Hocus Pocus on the cover. This is fun, but again, I don't think there's any on there. Okay, I've just had a look and this actually matches perfectly, because on the cover that I saw, it's blue and then Hocus Pocus is in yellow, which blue background, yellow text. So, oh my god, this is a big book to be starting with. To recap, we have Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil for a cover with the colours of Hocus Pocus on it. Then for a horror, we've got Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker. And then for a book featuring vampires, we have Immortal Dark by Tejas Gurma. This will mean we will be reading 3 books from that shelf, which will leave 6 books unread on there. And there are a total of 18 on there. So 6 down from 9. It will be taking it from 50% read to 75%. I don't think that's right. Something, I'll work it out somewhere. 60%? I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna get reading. I don't know what book to start with. I'm just gonna see which one takes me and then I will update you with which one I started and my initial thoughts. Hi friends, it's been a few days, quite a few days since I did the intro for this video and picked the books we were reading. I have been reading, I just haven't felt like I've had anything to update you on. So I don't know if that's a sign on how the book's going. I don't know. But I did start Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I'm 130 pages in, and when I'm reading it, I'm really enjoying it, really loving it. But when I'm not reading, no thoughts about it cross my brain. I don't know if that's just because we're not in the story enough, which is why I felt like I haven't wanted to update you, because I don't really know what to say. We've been introduced to some of the characters so far. So we've met Alice and Lottie and Maria. I don't know if this follows just 3 women or if there's more throughout. I'm not too sure yet. I probably should have read the blurb, but I didn't read the blurb. I saw V. Schwab new book pre-ordered, V. Schwab doing vampires pre-ordered, V. Schwab doing sapphic vampires pre-ordered, and that's all I wanted to know, and now here we are. But yeah, I am enjoying it when I'm reading it. There's just not anything that's happened so far that's made me really hooked to be constantly thinking about it and wanting to pick the book up every second I get. But I will say the writing in this I am loving. So there's lots of themes about hunger in women and wanting more, and themes of womanhood, and a lot of social commentary on what it's like for women. And each woman that we meet is set in a different time. So Maria was 1529 when we first met her, I think, and Alice is in 2019. And it's really interesting to see the contrast between the two and how much freer women are, but also how hardly anything has changed as well. So that's really interesting, and there's some beautiful quotes in here, especially the description of how they feel as they become a vampire. But yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you. It's going fine. I'm enjoying it when I'm reading it, loving the writing and some of the description that we're getting. V.E. Schwab just has a way of writing exactly what she wants to say, making it still be a journey, but without it being too flowery. I think her brain is a mastermind, and I think it really shows in this how amazing her writing is. I think I just need to get a bit more in to be able to feel more connected and a bit more of the grit of the story. But I thought I should check in before I get like halfway, just with some initial thoughts. But yeah, that's where we're at so far. I will check in when I've read some more and have some more thoughts. Hopefully there will be more than just, yeah, it's fine. Let me know if you've read this and what you thought of it, because it's been a highly anticipated release for me, and so far it is falling a bit flat, so I'd be interested to see how it's gone down for other people. But again, it's over 500 pages. I'm only 130 pages in. A lot can change in the next 400 pages. It's been a while since I've checked in actually about Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. It's taken me a long time to get through, and I have considered DNFing it, which I'm really sad about because it was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. I thought for sure I was going to give it 5 stars, but it's let me down a little bit. So I'm 380 pages in, and these 380 pages have been a slog. I've sort of dragged myself through the past 70, and I'm really in two minds about it, because on the one hand I love the writing and the atmosphere and how V.E. Schwab writes with so much purpose. So their writing is descriptive and at some points a bit flowery, but it's not over the top, and everything has a purpose, and it doesn't make me feel like there's no point to the book. But I'm just not enjoying it, and I think it's because I'm not attached to our characters. And I don't know if I've said this in the previous check-in, but it's making me question whether I am a character-driven girly rather than a plot-driven girly, because I will always say characters over plot for me, and this is very heavily character-driven. There's basically no plot, and I'm struggling because for some reason I'm just not connected to the characters. I really like how V. Schwab is describing these women's hunger and passion for freedom, and showing how vampirism and becoming a vampire opens up these doors that women wouldn't otherwise have. And I'm really enjoying like the social commentary side of things. But I don't really care for the characters, and it's making me really struggle. I don't think they're likeable. they're just sort of there for me. And when it is a character based book and you don't find yourself attached or rooting for the characters, it's kind of feels a bit pointless. I am finishing it. I have decided I will try and finish it today, if not over the coming weekend, but it has taken me 2 weeks to read this nearly, and I'm just not enjoying it. And actually, something that I did want to say is that this is meant to be Addie LaRue's darker and grittier sister. Personally, I think Addie LaRue is a bit grittier and darker than this. This is probably more darker in the sense that they're vampires, so they're murdering people, but I think that's about it. You will have to excuse my hair. She's a little bit crazy, but I have just finished Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, and the ending has left me really conflicted because that last sort of 80-ish pages really brought the whole thing together, and I felt myself have this sense of understanding about the whole book, but at the same time it's taken me so long to get through this, and at times it has felt like such a drag. And whilst I can appreciate what V. Schwab was trying to say in this book and have these themes of hunger, humanity, female rage a little bit in there as well, it just didn't do it for me. And so even though the ending had like everything click into place, it was still a bit of a disappointment for me compared to what I thought it was going to be. And that might be my fault. I feel like if I'd seen some reviews beforehand saying it was literally just about toxic lesbian vampires and there's basically no plot, I may have enjoyed it a bit more, but I didn't. And all I knew was toxic lesbian vampires, but I thought there'd be a bit more going on, and there wasn't. And so I'm really torn with my final thoughts on this, but I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. So it's gone up to what I was thinking a couple days ago, because I was very close to DNFing and then thinking this is like a 2-star read. So I'm glad I finished it and I'm glad I've read it. I think maybe upon reread I may be able to appreciate and enjoy it a bit more. But yeah, that's where we're at with Bury Our Bones. I feel relief that I have finished it, so I think that just shows that maybe this wasn't the right book for me, and that's okay. I think for the next book from that shelf, I'm going to read Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker. Is that their name? I think so. But yeah, I think I'm going to pick that one up next because I feel like I need a bit of a break from vampires. Hey, I've been reading after work. I've started reading Bat Eater. I say started, I did start this a couple months ago and then soft DNF'd it because I wasn't really in the mood for it. But I've just made it to chapter 11, which is page 123. And I don't know how I'm feeling about this. So this follows Cora, who is a crime scene cleaner, but nothing really bothers her because from what I remember, she witnessed her sister being pushed in front of a train, and the killer was never caught, so that killer is still on the loose. And Cora is sort of descending into what appears to be this kind of madness. She's very much in her head. She's envisioning things, potentially her sister's ghost, but I'm not sure if it is just in her head because the way it's being put across is that these ghosts could actually be real, but I didn't think this had a supernatural paranormal element to it. I thought it was, I don't know what I thought it was. I knew it was a horror, but I thought it was more of a like mystery where through these crime scenes Cora will discover the killer or murderer, and maybe that is what is still to happen, but this is like thrown a curveball for me. I don't really know what to think. I'm wondering if maybe the author is trying to do a bit too much in this. From my initial thoughts, because I'm not really sure, I don't really know what's going on, I'm just here for the vibes, which is so fine, but it's just under 300 pages, so it's only a very short book. And I'm thinking, are we going to be taking on too many things here? Are things going to be left sort of unresolved? Because as well as the actual plot, the book is set during COVID, and Cora is a Chinese American who is very much dealing with the racism that's surrounded by COVID, targeted towards Chinese women. And some of the things that have happened to her are just awful, completely awful. So we've got that layer to it. We've got the death of her sister. We've got the little moments of seeing part of Cora's past and how she's become the person that she is, and her family. So we're getting the snippets into what her family's like, and it's very disjointed. It's not really a full family unit. So we've got that, and then just her mental health state as well, and now this potential paranormal aspect. I really don't know, and I think it's going to be one that I won't know until the very last page if I loved it or hated it. But yeah, I'm going to go get back to reading and make some progress. We're back on the floor because this is where the best lighting is at 6 p.m. I finished Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker, and forget everything that I previously said about this, about it trying to do too much, about there being too many layers in it, because I kid you not, like the chapter after I did that update, I was like, oh, this is starting to make so much sense. And the same sort of happened for Bury Our Bones. After I had my very negative moment updating you guys about it, like the few pages after that, everything started to click and I could see where everything was going. I finished this and it came together in the most horrifying, chilling, but amazing way. We do have all those layers that I previously mentioned. There's a lot going on in this book, but it does all come together, and every layer is needed to make it the story that it is. And I think it's been executed really well. I think my other problem was that I started this back in June. I read 70 pages and then I put it down and just picked it up where I left off. So I think that was part of my problem. So when I did update you, although I was halfway in, I was trying to piece together what is happening right then and what had happened previously when I first started reading this. So I do think it's been executed very well. I will say I didn't know it was based on Chinese mythology, which is where I think I was getting a bit confused and thinking, I don't know what's going on, what this book is trying to do. After that update that I gave you, I did actually read a couple of reviews on Goodreads because I know people loved this book and found it amazing, and I was like, what am I missing? Knowing that it had Chinese mythology elements really helped me then to piece together some parts of it to do with her sister and these ghosts that our main character Cora is seeing. It is graphic, it's gory, and if you're, I think the term is body horror. I'm not in the know of a lot of horror terminology, but I'm pretty sure it's body horror in this, and it is very graphic. So if you're a bit squeamish, maybe this isn't the one for you. I actually, if I was watching this as a film, I would have had to have turned it off, probably in the first chapter. But reading it when I read horror, for some reason, I'm much more able to digest it and process things. I don't know if I said I gave it 4.5 stars in the end. Potentially might bump it up to a 5, but I didn't want to give it a 5 straight away just because of the confusion that I first felt and sort of that feeling of there's too much going on. But again, that could partly be my own issue. So the last book of this vlog to read is Immortal Dark by Tigest Germer, which is a dark academia vampire story, I believe. I am hoping to start this tonight, but I don't know how far through I will get because I'm also finishing another book, which isn't in this vlog, but I'm really enjoying. It's The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Absolutely loving that. So I'm hoping to finish that and then at least start this one. And I really don't know, I don't have any expectations going into this. I've seen very mixed things. Some people don't really gel with it, some people absolutely love it. So going in with no expectations and hoping it will be a fabulous time. Hello friends, I have a very exciting update actually. So I have started Immortal Dark by Tigest Germer. I do apologise, in the previous clips where I've spoken about this I have been pronouncing their name wrong. It is Tigest Germer. I'm really loving this. Whenever I'm not reading it, I'm thinking about it, I want to be reading it. I'm having such a fun time. So this is a very dark vampire story and we follow our main character Kadan, who has lost her sister. Her sister's run away, ? So basically her sister June, she's of legal age and she's disappeared. Kadan has tried to go to the police about it, but they won't do anything because she's of legal age, so it's a legal runaway. But before that, June was convinced that a vampire was after her, and through Kadan's own means, she has gotten a name for a vampire who she believes has taken her sister June, Susenyos. And this is where we get into this really rich history of vampires and humans and how they coexist together. So there was a war between the vampires and the humans, and then through that war it was decided that vampires would coexist within these 80 families who would take the vampires as their companions, and each vampire is dedicated to a certain house with these families. And Kadan is actually now the heiress. The heiress? Is that the right word? She's inherited her family's estate and vampire based in Uxley University. And once she got this name, Susenyos, she's been trying to get into Uxley University, but it doesn't show itself to anyone unless they are invited in. And because now she is the last one who is set to inherit the Adane house, which is Kadan's family house, the dean of the university goes to find her and says, look, you can either take up your inheritance or you can sign this paper and the inheritance will go to the vampire Susenyos. And so she thinks this is her in. She can go to Uxley, meet Susenyos and find out what's happened to June. And this is where this hatred between the two begins, because obviously Kadan thinks that Susenyos has taken, potentially killed her sister. So she's trying to find out what he knows, where she is, things like that. And Susenyos is filled with this rage and hatred because he thought that inheritance was going to him, and it's no longer the case because Kadan has moved in and she has to attend these classes and pass the human vampire class to be able to have her full inheritance, I believe, or for her to be able to stay on at Uxley and keep the inheritance. And so we've got this hatred, we've got this mystery. Everyone in this has something dark within their soul, whether you're human or vampire. But in this, vampires are known as Draenics, and humans are called or known as Actais. And I'm absolutely loving it. I'm having such a good time. I think it's just really refreshing in a way to read a story where the author's just gone, yeah, everyone's dark, everyone's bad. Let's just roll with it and see what we'll do. And I love it. I'm having so much fun. I think it's really interesting seeing this take on a vampire story. One thing that I keep thinking is with Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I remember watching one of Becca's Shelves Ep.1 or Scrap It vlogs, and she mentioned it doesn't really do anything to further the vampire story as we know it, whereas this one, it takes things that we know but has made it, it's been made its own. There's a lot going on, but I'm finding it quite digestible. I personally am not finding it too overloading. I just hope with all these things going on, one doesn't get lost in the way of the other things. And one other thing about this, which I really love, is that the house has its own powers. And I don't know why, I just love in a story when a house has its own personality. A house is sort of personified, it's not just there. And this one definitely does. It picks up on emotions and controls then how you feel based on those emotions and can show you images with its power. But I will check in again, potentially before the end, with some development of what's been going on, and give my overall thoughts obviously when I have finished it. But so far it's a yes from me, and I just can't wait to see where it goes. I'm just over 330 pages in, and the plot has developed where Kadan and Susenyos are having to find a truce and work together to try and defeat or unravel this group within Uxley University, and seeing them come closer, and that being a point where we delve deeper into their characters and their history and why they are like they are, is just amazing. I'm loving this book so much, and I think it's been really cleverly done plot wise to help things start to unravel, and we learn more as certain relationships come together or come apart. And I just think this is great. Honestly, if you're after a dark academia, a vampire book, a book where everyone is the bad guy essentially, this is the book for you. It's actually nearly a whole month later. I do apologise, this was meant to go up in October, and I did finish Immortal Dark in October. I just did not give my final thoughts or edit this video. So it's a bit late, but it's okay. I did finish Immortal Dark and I've given it 4.5 stars. This was everything. I keep going between a 4.5 and a 5. So at the moment it is staying at 4.5. The reason it's not getting the full 5 stars is because there were some moments where I wish we got a bit more explanation for character motives. We got told a reveal, and then it was, how do we solve this? I wanted to know why that's the case in a bit more depth. But other than that, this book was amazing. Everything I said about it before is how I still feel about it. It's unique. The characters are all bad, but you root for them because actually behind them they do have good intentions, but it's not like a moral thing. They accept that they are bad, and they just run with it. And the ending had me page turning like no tomorrow. I wanted to see what would happen and how this part of the story resolves, and I think it set it up amazingly for the second book, which is now out, but I am waiting for the Fairy Loot one to go on sale because I would like them to match. So if the smallest thing about this has interested you from what I've said, please go and read it because it's so good. I've only really seen Heather talk about this book, who I will link below. So yeah, I don't think it's getting the hype it deserves. And also, if you were a fan of the Vampire Diaries and the originals, I think you will love this because you can't tell me that Sesenos is not based on Klaus. So yeah, I just love this so much. So that wraps up the first episode of Reading Through the Shelves. I really hope you enjoyed this and will look forward to more of these. I don't think I'll have one for a while because it's coming up to Christmas time. It's a very busy time of the year. I am hoping to do one in January to kickstart the reading year. So let's go through the books I read. So we had Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker, which was a 4.5. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, which was a 3.5. And Immortal Dark by Tigest Germa, which was a 4.5. And so that is 3 books off of that shelf over there. So it started off with 17 books. It's now 16 because I have unhauled my Fairy Loot edition of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. And I believe we had 9 unread on there and we now have 6. So it's progress, we're getting there. And yeah, how exciting. I really hope you did enjoy this. Please let me know if you did and if you've read these books, what you thought about them. And also please like the video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future episodes. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you in whatever comes next.